If you power down your cell phone, there's no way the government could ever hear you. Certainly not the FBI. It's turned off, right? Have we got news for you? All right, here's that cell phone story you've been waiting for. Cell phone users beware, Big Brother may be listening. The Federal Bureau of Investigation can now hear everything you say, even when the cell phone is turned off. I know it sounds kind of out there, but using your phone's tracking device, authorities can now activate the microphone inside the dreaded thing, allowing them to eavesdrop on you and your conversations. Serious business, and the FBI used this form of surveillance to keep tabs on critical conversations by people they call known members of the mafia. Experts say the only way around it is to take the battery out of the thing.
Well, I think surveillance is getting out of hand these days. Well, brace yourself for this. Verizon has filed a patent for a cable box equipped with a microphone and sensors to record what you're doing. That's right. The television would be watching you, watching it. And that's not all. This technology would be able to communicate with your phone to see what you've been browsing on your mobile device. So at this point, it's just an idea, but is this a sign that tracking consumers and the ability to spy is getting out of hand? Well, it seems like a scary sign of what's to come.
Well, this new cybersecurity bill is especially interesting because the bill was originally written to better protect email privacy. Here's the backstory. Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy is the author of the bill. He first introduced it in May of 2011. The idea was to require law enforcement to have a warrant before going through email or electronic communications. In specific, it required that law enforcement, quote, obtain a warrant issued and executed in accordance with the federal rules of criminal procedure, end quote. Well, Leahy had compared going through email and electronic communication to going through someone's home. But over the past few weeks, that bill has been completely rewritten. According to the website CNET, Leahy's rewritten bill would allow more than 22 agencies to access Americans' email, Google Doc files, Facebook wall posts, and Twitter direct messages without a search warrant. It would also give the FBI and Homeland Security more authority, in some circumstances, to gain full access to Internet accounts without notifying either the owner or a judge. So how does a bill that was designed to update surveillance laws from the 1980s get changed from treating your email and Google Doc files like they're your home to doing the exact opposite? Reportedly, it was the National District Attorneys Association and the National Sheriff's Association organizations who objected to the legislation and asked Leahy to reconsider acting on it. Under this bill, the warrants won't have to be obtained. Instead, a subpoena can be issued, again, according to CNET. The list of agencies that will have that subpoena power, the FBI, DEA, and Homeland Security, but also the Security and Exchange Commission, the Federal Communications Commission, the Federal Reserve, the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Maritime Commission, the Postal Regulatory Commission, the National Labor Relations Board, and the Mine Enforcement Safety and Health Review Commission, among others. In total, 22 agencies will reportedly have that subpoena power. Now, since the CNET article was posted, Senator Leahy's office has been contacted by the Huffington Post and by Forbes. A Leahy spokesperson says that the bill will not lessen privacy, saying this, quote, Senator Leahy is a privacy guy and supports strong privacy laws. This bill is almost 30 years old and needs to be updated to address email. But this doesn't mean warrantless searches of email will be in it. It won't. Now, we'll watch this bill as it moves toward a vote in the Senate next week and keep you updated. But what this all means for you is that there is a bigger question here at play than just this one bill. A serious question about privacy in the United States. What is privacy? Should you be allowed to have private communications? Not because you're a terrorist or because you're a criminal, but because you're an American. The real question for all of us is privacy a right? And if it is, will Americans demand that lawmakers protect that right? And that is Reality Check.
A new generation of surveillance drones could soon be watching us all from overhead. The Federal Aviation Administration is expected to announce plans to expand the use of domestic drones in American airspace. Eyes in the sky, similar to the unmanned aircraft that the United States has been using to target terrorists abroad. Here at home, the surveillance systems can be used to track terrorists or drug dealers, or to find missing children, or locate wandering Alzheimer's patients. Lots of different good uses, but the critics warn the use of drones presents a major threat to all of our personal privacy. Meantime, a newly discovered Air Force intelligence document leaked and posted online states if drones capture surveillance footage of Americans incidentally, the data can be stored and analyzed by the Pentagon for up to 90 days. And that's not all. The Fox Report's chief correspondent Jonathan Hunt is with us. When are these drones likely to be flying, and how many of them might there be above our heads?
Well, there's a growing number already, Shep, but according to the experts, and indeed the FAA itself, there could be as many as 30,000 of these kind of drones, 30,000 flying overhead within the next decade. Now, obviously, law enforcement agencies love these drones, and they say they'll be able to save lives in things like hostage situations or search and rescue operations. But obviously, the privacy concerns are huge, because they will, in effect, bring every single backyard in America into the authorities' view. You've always had an expectation of privacy in your own backyard. You will no longer have it with these there, and there is essentially no real legislation currently written to curtail where they can go, to limit what they can see. That's the obvious concern.
These are regulations in which bureaucrats gave themselves the authority to capture images of us in the privacy of our backyards, and depending upon how low the drones fly, Jonathan can back me up, inside the home, the drone is able to see inside the home, and to retain and analyze and distribute amongst members of the government what they find. This is not permitted by the Constitution. It's not permitted by federal law. The Congress didn't vote on it. The President's been silent about it. Bureaucrats did it on their own.
If my television camera shoots over that 12-foot fence at that woman who's naked in the backyard, I've committed a crime, because she has a reasonable expectation of privacy. The drone shouldn't be allowed to do that either for the exact same reason.
I would make the same argument as your hypothetical neighbor who wants to see what your girlfriend looks like. The government would commit the crime. Shep, this is very serious. It's one thing for the government to do it. It's another thing for the Defense Department to do it. The Defense Department cannot engage in any activity in the United States of America without an executive order from the President that must be published. So if the President is authorizing the Defense Department, Jonathan spoke about the Air Force, to fly drones over anybody's backyard and we don't know about it, then the President and the Air Force have violated numerous federal criminal statutes.
Your bad driving habits could come back to bite you. The Obama administration has approved a plan to require so-called black boxes in all new cars sold in the U.S. Those devices will show exactly what you do behind the wheel, and privacy advocates worry about what else they may reveal. Charles Hadlock has more.
At the Fort Worth Auto Show today, buyers are checking out the latest models.
You want to go really fast? Nothing to do.
But shoppers of all new vehicles will soon get more than they bargained for. A data recorder watching a driver's every move. Beginning in September of 2014, every new vehicle sold in the U.S. will be required to have a so-called black box. The boxes record the last few seconds before a crash, providing such clues as vehicle speed, steering, whether the brakes were applied, and if the driver was wearing a seatbelt.
If you are guilty of something, it's going to hurt you. If you're innocent of something, it could be a real defense for you.
The insurance industry supports the move, even though most drivers are unaware that 96% of cars sold today already have data recorders installed.
People are dying on the freeways, and these people are trying to make it so that doesn't happen. That's a good thing.
But privacy advocates say the government and automakers are traveling toward a slippery slope by spreading an intrusive technology without the policy in place to prevent the misuse of information.
The two concerns that we have with this technology are, number one, that these black boxes should belong to the owner and the data on them shouldn't be available to the police or anybody else without a warrant. And number two, that people are aware that these are in their cars.
Information collected from data recorders is already showing up in lawsuits and some high-profile accidents, like the one in 2007 involving former New Jersey Governor John Corzine. The data recorder showed Corzine was not wearing a seatbelt, and the SUV a state trooper was driving was going 91 miles an hour, well above the speed limit.
That's a great idea.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
It's a new mandated feature to be debated far beyond the showroom.
Some critics say this is nothing more than the watchful eye of Big Brother keeping track of your every moment. 7 Action News reporter Julie Bonovich gives us a closer look at this high-tech system from Farmington Hills.
Your attention, please.
That voice you hear,
your attention, please,
came from this street light.
Please stand by for a public safety announcement.
In each lighting fixture or in each lighting pole, there's a processor very much like an iPhone. and it takes inputs and outputs. It talks back and forth, and the poles actually talk to each other. The ribbon is cut.
Inventor Ron Harwood unveiled the intelligent light in a ribbon-cutting ceremony. With funding help from the Department of Energy, Harwood's Farmington Hills company, Illuminating Concepts, started designing the wireless communication system after the horrors of September 11th and Hurricane Katrina.
And it became really obvious to myself and my staff that we could do something that would make people more informed, make them safer.
LED video screens and cameras add to the wireless infrastructure that is remotely controlled. It can provide entertainment, save energy, make announcements.
This is a security alert.
And it even counts people for police.
When I come into view of that streetlight, when I look at that camera, the person on the other side sees the white specks and the black marks, sensing that somebody's there. And if they want, they can even take my picture.
The system is also capable of recording conversations, making critics cry invasion of privacy.
This is not a system with spook technology. It's much more transparent. It can just talk to you and say, don't fall over Niagara Falls.
The basic light starts at $3,000, and by spring of next year, there is a good chance you could see them popping up in your city. In Farmington Hills, Julie Bonovich, 7 Action News.
The first of these light poles will sit on 10 Mile Road just east of Orchard Lake Road. Harwood already has orders from cities across Metro Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and he's working with Homeland Security.